What's up, Thumpers and Hyper Homies? Welcome back to another episode of Hyper Heroes here on Hyper Rabbit Power Go. You and I had a very adventurous day.
Homie.
It was.
Homie.
You were so missed.
Allow me to introduce myself.
My name is Ho. Oh! H to the O-V. That was an out of the blue, just... It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to go to this.
I was asleep, and Malika was like, "You get my Slack? You get my email?" I'm like, "For what?" Fast and Furious wants you to come out and do drifting.
Now, hang on,
watch the new trailer for Hobbs and Shaw.
To her defense, was it like 2 in the afternoon and you were asleep?
No, it was like 9 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
all right.
okay.
That's a little early, but that's regular people's, like, they're already at
well,
work.
that's because I woke up at 5, and then I was like, well, I'm going to sleep for another hour, and then I slept for 5 more hours.
Good.
Or 3 hours, or however long.
But that experience was absolutely bonkers
It was
bananas.
so awesome. We went to the Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, in Fontana.
In Fontana, California.
Yeah.
We got a chance to ride in a McLaren, and then we went drifting in a Dodge Challenger Hellcat.
So let's kind of break it down.
Oh my God.
There was 2 phases to the trailer reaction.
Yeah.
So they wanted you to focus on the trailer on the first ride or second ride, whichever one you want. So you got into a McLaren that gripped the road like a fucking like a fat kid on cake.
I wasn't sure where you were going to go with
not
that.
A good
I'm
one.
like,
I was trying to think of a good analogy.
Are we going to get our YouTube channel shut down?
Just like, but that McLaren, we hit about 120 miles watching the trailer on that one. The silver McLaren.
My driver hit 140 at one point.
Well, then 140 miles an hour.
That was ridiculous.
And he was killing it.
My
but
butt cheeks were puckered.
That car didn't feel as intense because that car was very controlled, so you could focus on the trailer reaction. It was low to the ground. It gripped like crazy, so you were feeling the G-forces, but it didn't feel crazy. And then we get into the Hellcat all together, and that Hellcat was swinging us around.
Drifting.
That car was made to drift.
We ended up drifting. How many did we do?
I think
laps?
we did 3. We did 3 laps drifting around this track at another 140. Yeah, me in the front.
Zach and I in the back, and just being thrown around.
It was awesome, actually.
It was so fun.
That was my favorite ride, just because it was the most intense, I think.
Yeah.
Just because you're getting tossed around like crazy. You really feel the G-forces in that car. Whereas the other McLaren was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it felt a lot more controlled, so I felt safer in there.
Yeah, and plus I think the experience of us doing it together.
That was great.
The second time.
That's
made
why
it that
you
much more
needed
fun.
to next time. Next time you got to come, Hector.
I know, man.
And then
Next time you
after
gotta
that,
come.
But I was so happy.
they allowed us, each of us, to drive our own vehicles.
Yeah.
What did you drive?
I drove the Lamborghini Huracan. Fucking amazing car. I was standing up. I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'6", 5'7", and it came up to here to me. So like I was standing over this car. Getting in, I couldn't fit my fat head in. Like my helmet was just too big. I was like fumbling around. And then I get into this thing, and then like they size you up to make sure the angles on your legs are just right, and like your hands.
Get that slack, baby.
Yeah, your hands have to be at an exact
new.
thing. And I don't know if so you drive with an instructor, Hector. He tells you when to stop, when to go, and they encourage you to punch it. Like they tell you, go, hit it, go, and you have to like floor it, and
coming
you're going.
Out of turn,
yeah, coming out of turn.
The pedal.
There was one point where I was turning and my back tire squealed a little bit. He's like, yeah, there you go. And I was like, yes. So
cool.
that was super duper cool, and we weren't watching the trailer at that point. That was just for us
driving.
to like experience it.
Yeah, we didn't even get any footage of that, but that's
We'll
cool.
get it later.
We'll get it on Wednesday.
later.
Really?
Yeah, we're getting it on Wednesday.
Cool.
And so I don't know if my driver was just kind of like trying to pump me up, but he was like, dude, you got it. You just need track time. He's like, you're smooth. You're quick around the turns. And he was like, just track time and you'll be able to get it. And I'm like, man. He's doing a really good job of trying to sell me to go back and do a bunch of more laps.
Yeah.
So
drop some K-ish, shave that track time.
Drop that 300.
And that shit is not cheap.
No, drop that 300.
Not cheap, yeah.
And then I remember when we left, the woman at the register was like, by the way, because you've already been here once, on your next visit, you get a free lap. I'm like, great. So it's only $100 per lap because I get that free lap. Cool.
The base one is $300 for 5 laps in like their lowest end car.
Yeah.
And then it just goes up from there.
It's a Porsche?
It's a Porsche, yeah.
So?
It's a Porsche.
Yeah.
Can you bring your own car?
No. No.
Bring my Hyundai accent.
But I will say, there was one day where we drove from his house, and you drifted a turn real nice, like.
Hey,
it was.
I know my car.
Honestly, if he had not drifted that turn so well,
pulled
we
the e-brake.
straight
And
up
then you
like
just cranked
90-degree turn driving into Glendale. It was pretty smooth. I drove a Ferrari 488.
Right.
And man,
First of all, how was the fit in there? Because that car is not made for you.
it was a Lego car.
It was snug, right?
It was a Tonka.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really snug. Getting was a little bit of a challenge because of where the steering wheel was.
Exactly.
It was really low.
Exactly.
So I had to really like squeeze my legs in.
You had to like squat before you get in there, and then like slide in sideways.
You got to do the sloth squat and then like get in.
Yeah.
But once I was in, it's actually like a very comfortable drive.
Yeah, you're right.
Even though it's like very low and it's very compact, like I never felt claustrophobic or squished.
Yeah.
Like once you start going, man, it moves.
Yeah,
really
so
nice.
that's what I felt too in my car. So the car that I drove was 570 some odd horsepower, right?
Yeah.
When you gun it though, you never feel like you're out of control.
No.
It's always like, okay, this is nice, and then you feel like the way they teach you, you feel like you have full control over the thing. So it's like very encouraging just to go.
Yeah, and I think
Super
that
fun.
was the crazy part was when I would squeeze on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
And when I thought I was pushing hard enough.
Yeah, he was telling
like,
you,
go,
Yeah.
push it, push
Yeah.
it. And like I would hit it, and I get to like over.
Is that you?
Yeah, I guess so.
there you go.
I would get to over 120.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm good, right? He's like, go. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This is not that long of a straightaway.
And it's scary because there's certain cones that you have to brake at. And you see them coming, and you're used to driving normally, so you're like, okay, cones are coming. I'm just gonna slow down gently into them. They want you to ride right into them and just like slam the brakes and take the turn. I'm just like, holy shit, dude!
It's crazy,
That's
man.
So much fun.
It's crazy, but it was such a fun time. If you want to check it out, it's on the YouTube channel. It's also, we posted some clips on Twitter, and I posted some stuff on my Instagram as well. And then once we get all of our individual stuff, we'll post those as well, so you guys can see our individual rides. But
I can't
such
wait.
a fun experience.
I can't wait.
Would I do it again? It's kind of expensive. I don't know.
For the price, no.
Yeah.
If I was fucking rich, hell yes.
Hell yeah.
I would never buy one of those cars, but I would definitely
Never.
like take all of you out if I was rich and like, let's go have a track day,
For
homies.
sure.
Let's go do it.
It's super fun, and it just made me that much more excited to go watch Hobbs and Shaw.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to this guy's house. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
We're going to this guy's house in a couple weeks to watch. Thank you.
To marathon.
To marathon Fast 5 and Furious 6.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be
so
fun.
excited about
Fast
that,
and
yeah.
Furious 6.
Yes.
It
Furious
was supposed
7
to be
is-
called. It was supposed to be
I
called
know.
Furious 6.
I
and
know.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either
We're
way.
gonna have a lot of fun watching that stuff. But let's jump in. Let's talk about ComicCon.
Okay.
Are you guys excited to go? Because I kind of feel like, for me personally, there's really not much to see anymore this year.
Oh. So let's break it down. If Sony were to show up, what would they show?
They have a whole slate of stuff. Zombieland 2,
Oh,
Double
yeah.
Tap, Charlie's Angels, The Grudge,
Okay.
Bloodshot, the Vin Diesel Valiant comic book adaptation, Morbius, the Jared Leto.
You know what? You're right.
Marvel
Why are
comic
they
movie.
skipping Comic-Con?
Why are all these studios skipping Comic-Con?
I
Look at all the
just-
stuff that Warner Brothers could have potentially shown.
Warner Brothers DC, that breaks my heart.
Right.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart. I
Birds
would have
of Prey,
loved
the
I would've
Batman, the Suicide
loved
Squad,
that.
Warner
Wonder Brothers.
Woman 84.
I mean, what did I say? Wonder Brothers?
Wonder
Is that what
Wonder
it is?
Brothers, yeah.
Wonder
Those two,
Brothers. The
those
Wonder
two.
Brothers.
The famous breakdancing crew, the Wonder Brothers.
form of a
Activate.
good
Ding, ding,
movie.
ding, ding. Activate, and it turns into the Hall H ring.
Turns into the water tower.
That's right.
And their sister Dot.
Universal's not coming. They could have had Hobbs and Shaw. They could have had Fast and the Furious 9. They've got plenty of other stuff on their slate as well.
Yeah.
Lionsgate's not coming.
Fast and Furious 9 just started shooting for like a week.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I
Marvel's
know,
done
you're
it with
right.
7
I
days
know,
of
you're
filming.
right.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on.
right. They showed us that Wonder Woman footage
Yep.
last time.
Yep.
So
You're right.
And
Good
they've
point.
been filming
Good
for nothing,
point.
for no
Yeah.
time.
What would
real.
Lionsgate have to show?
That's a good question. Lionsgate, I don't know. That's one
Let
that I
me
would have
look
to,
up-
that I
let me
would
look
have
up
to like
some
look into,
information.
because Lionsgate, it would either be something horror related or maybe something that's a
feel
little
like-
bit more like off the charts. Because I don't know if they have a comic book property in
Well,
development.
I feel
right
like
now.
they have something that just hit big for them.
They
here.
got Rambo 5.
Oh, Last Blood. They could have definitely brought a panel for if they
They
wanted
got
to.
No Manches Frida. That's
is.
their Latino release, apparently. I don't know. That
Okay.
movie was good. It's
Okay.
2. Oh, it's the sequel. No Manches Frida 2. Lifelike and
Escape Plan. Escape Plan. Those are
Escape
like
Plan.
direct to Blu-ray, I think, sequels. So
Then, yeah.
Lionsgate, I don't think had too much to offer. I think Warner Brothers, Universal, and Sony had big things to offer. For whatever reason, they're deciding
Right.
to skip
Right.
out on the con. So the stuff that we know that's for sure going to be coming, Disney Marvel is doing a panel.
Yeah.
Marvel Studios, at
Yeah.
least. We don't know if Disney itself is going to be doing
Right.
any sort of panels for any of their upcoming live action stuff,
Right.
or for their animated upcoming stuff, or the Pixar stuff. Star Wars is not doing a panel there. Paramount, all we know for right now, they're going to be doing Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
And New Line Cinema will be there with their Scare Diego, which usually happens on preview night, where they'll do stuff for, I don't know, this year they'll do stuff for It, and I'm not sure what other horror releases they'll kind
Okay.
of focus on.
Oh,
Okay.
Lionsgate has scary stories to tell in the dark.
Okay.
Which
Not
looks
doing anything, I
promising,
guess.
but
Yeah.
dang. Okay.
So
I think the thing
I don't
the
know.
thing I was thinking of, I think, was John Wick, because John
Yeah,
Wick 3 just
sure.
came out.
But
They
that
announced
just came
4.
out,
Yeah, but
And-
no movement on that
Right,
yet.
right.
Yeah.
But it's still like that's been their big recent hit.
And
'Cause-
Keanu's a big hit.
right, because I think
He's the
traditionally
internet's boyfriend right
That's
now.
right.
I just looked it up. Lionsgate's highest grossing thing ever is still like the Hunger Games movies,
Sure.
Okay.
and then after that would be the Twilight
And
saga.
they're doing a
and
prequel to the Hunger Games, but
Are
it
they?
was just like announced. There's no movement on it yet.
Okay.
Okay.
So
okay,
I don't know.
Okay.
It's kind of like for me, and I think for us, because we're such veterans of that convention.
Yeah.
Hall H has always obviously been the biggest thing, and now only having, Disney, Marvel, and Paramount coming, I don't really know what the hell they're going to fill the rest of Hall H programming with.
It's strange.
All of
yeah.
the DC TV stuff is happening in Ballroom 20.
Yep, always happens there.
Exactly. It's happened, I think, in Hall H once or twice, but majority of the time it's always in Ballroom 20, as most TV stuff is. And the only other stuff that has been announced, as far as I know, is Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely are doing panels on Friday morning
Okay.
together. They're doing a panel together, a Q&A / what are you working on next sort of panel.
Yeah.
And then right after them, the Rousseau brothers are going up, and they're doing basically the same thing.
That's
Talking
gonna
about
draw a
Marvel's,
huge crowd.
Yeah, talking about Marvel's Avengers Endgame and Infinity
Yeah.
War and all the Captain America
They'll
movies that they worked on.
probably talk about the Russo brothers talk about the Magic the Gathering
Yes.
animated
Right.
show that they're doing.
They're
and
expected
future
to
stuff.
talk about a lot of stuff that's coming out of their production company.
Yeah.
I think it's called Agbo
Yeah,
Studios.
yeah.
They're producing a whole bunch of content. They've got a movie coming out with Chadwick Boseman. So I don't know. Those to me sound more like Q&A things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where people will have
'Cause
an opportunity to ask questions
Right.
while also being moderated by people who are going to ask questions. I don't think
Right.
we're going to see really any
Movie announcements.
footage or movie announcements.
No,
Yeah.
years ago, I think one of my favorite panels that I ever saw was like an hour-long convo between J.J. Abrams and Joss Whedon, and this was in like 2010.
Yeah.
And Joss Whedon had just been announced as like the director of the Avengers.
Oh, right.
And he was complimenting J.J. Abrams because he goes, it may have been 2009 because he goes,
Trek.
he goes, Star Trek's the gold standard for like an ensemble cast action, and J.J. was like, no, like
Yeah.
you're fine. And I really like Star Trek and Avengers, so good
Yeah.
job on both of those
That was a
movies.
good panel.
But that was
a
like
good
a
panel.
cool panel, but it
Right.
was
Yeah.
really just like a conversation. That's probably
Yeah,
what that's
right.
going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you also have Blumhouse's Fantasy Island. Did you mention that?
What
is that about?
I don't know. I'm not
Is
sure
it
what that movie is.
Fantasy Island,
It's
like the old
remake,
TV show?
Yes, it's a
Maybe?
remake.
But it's Blumhouse, so it's going to be
Yeah.
like horror?
Let me
Could
see.
be. Could be. So I mean,
Yo,
and that's
hey,
all stuff.
you better get a Latino to carry on that legacy of Ricardo Montalban.
That's right. So that's the Sony slate of stuff that could have been, but it's
Wow.
not coming. So I mean, I think I always look forward to Hall H because I think
Yeah.
usually there's a lot of fun stuff. Maybe it's possible that some movie that is celebrating an anniversary could show up. I know Game of
Yeah.
Thrones is having a panel.
Yep.
There's
One
there's-
last panel.
Yeah. There's talks of maybe Marvel Studios bringing back the legacy characters to do some sort of final panel.
Wait,
But I don't know.
Guess who's playing the main Fantasy Island guy?
Who?
Guess.
Is it
Give
what's
it,
his
give,
name?
okay, we'll do 20 questions. Is it a man?
Hector, you
do
don't have
yes
to
or no?
guess a lot.
It's,
this guy,
Is it Oscar Isaac?
Michael Pena.
Is Michael
it's
Pena?
Michael Pena. Yes.
Yes. That's
Get
cool. That's
Get
cool.
it. Get it. That's all you need.
That's what I was
all
saying. I
you
was
need.
like, Michael Pena. Michael Pena. What's his name?
Yep.
What's his name? What's his
Man.
name? I don't know
That's
how I
awesome.
forget Michael Pena's name.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
good guess.
I derailed the conversation, but that
It's
was
all
worth
good.
derailing
It's
the
all good.
conversation.
I would have got it in 20 questions.
You would have got
Should've
it
gotten
in two.
three. Come
You
on.
would have got in two. Is
My
it a
na-
man? Yes. Michael Pena. Yes.
So with all these studios not coming to San Diego Comic-Con, are you guys even? I mean, aside from California burritos, because that's like the staple of Comic-Con.
Like, that's the only
like,
reason
what are
for
you
me.
what are you guys looking forward to in terms of movies, if anything?
I'll be honest. I have been very, very busy in my life
Yeah.
recently.
Doing adult stuff.
Where I have not even let. I haven't, because I like to do the thing where like a couple weeks out or whenever they actually release the full schedule, then
Yeah.
I go in and I'm like, let me scope it. What's Thursday? What's Friday? What? And then I start lifting things like, oh, I want to go see this panel. I want to go see that. I want
Yeah.
to go see this thing.
Yeah.
And I will always gravitate towards like animated movies and animated shows,
right.
or like, because those are always fun panels,
Yeah.
or superhero animation stuff, or big movies, obviously. So I don't even know, and the news that like those big movie studios are not showing up.
Right.
I feel like it's part of a conversation. I want to put a pin in it and come back to it, of the whole thing of like, does Hollywood, we've had this conversation before, do they feel like, is it even worth it for us to show up? What do we get in return to impress a bunch of fans and a bunch of, journalists and stuff down in San Diego, versus we could release this stuff on our own, versus saving the money and the time and the energy to go down there.
I mean, I think that is the conversation.
That's the conversation. But in terms of what I'm looking forward
Sure.
to, the only thing I've been scoping is some of the exclusives, and I already ran those by you. So I'm going to be trying to hunt those down.
Of course.
But other than that, I'm still open to it. I still think that ComicCon is a really, really important pop culture event. It's my Christmas. It's my, Halloween. It's my everything wrapped in one.
Right.
And for me, the almost the proof of that is like, well, Marvel is probably going to show up. Marvel Studios
Absolutely.
is probably, and we've been talking about that. And I feel like they're going to show up with a big show.
Yeah.
And they always know how to put on a good show. And they always know how to close it out. And I feel like right now, especially, is going to be a really great time for them to announce stuff. And I think they're going to announce stuff. But that's just me. Augustine, what are you looking forward to? Do you think it's still viable?
It's absolutely viable. The good thing to come out of these giant studios kind of coming out of it is, one, for the super diehard fans who we always hear about. They're like, it's Comic-Con. Let's get it focused back on the comic books, which is great, because I feel like the focus is definitely off of comic books. If you go on the floor, the giant floor, the left side as you're looking at the con
Artist Alley,
is it's Artist Alley at the very end, and everybody goes there because they're trying to loop back around to like the Marvel section. Nobody pays attention to the artist. And then on the right side is where all the comic books and comic book sellers are, and the other artists who are there with their own booths. And that's like where you go to take a break from the giant crowd that's amassing around like that center area. So maybe this is going to disperse that crowd out into the comic book area, out to see the artists. Like it's going to kind of refocus things a little bit, I think. And I know from experience, the second thing is that one of the funnest cons that I ever had was maybe like a year or two before we started doing the YouTube thing. I planned out every single one of my panels. None of it was in Hall H.
Oh, it's the best.
It was great. And so I woke up. The Adventure Time panel was at 11 a.m. I woke up at 5 a.m. because I knew I had to get in that Comic-Con line, because I knew I had to get in the Adventure Time line because that was going to be gigantic. And so like just hanging out and seeing the smaller panels and things like that I really wanted to see, I had an amazing time. It was just a full-on stacked good day of seeing a bunch of stuff that I can geek out with, and a lot of people that I love that love the same thing that I love. So I'm hoping that this will show a little bit more love and appreciation to the people who maybe don't get noticed as much, because the entire, like 90% is over exaggeration, but it feels like 90% of the people that go there are there for that Hall H line.
I don't think you're over exaggerating.
I mean, I could
look, once we got past like 2005, 2006, people were going to Comic-Con for Hall H. That's really what they were there for. And I feel like in the last 2 years, primarily last year really, is when we sort of started seeing a shift where, because Marvel wasn't there, Hall H was still obviously very, very busy for all the other stuff. But Comic-Con overall felt less busy, felt less crowded.
It did feel less busy.
I think this year, even though Marvel is going to show up and they're going to be there, and we talk about every year who won Comic-Con, who won Comic-Con, who won Comic-Con. I don't really think it matters for me personally. For me, I'm just there for a fun presentation.
Sure.
But I think Marvel has they have the full advantage of winning Comic-Con this year. And they're going to bring a show. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to announce what they're going to announce, whether it's the official announcement of Black Widow, The Eternals, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, whatever it's going to be. People are going to be excited for that.
They're also in a unique position, and I like how you brought up the whole thing of like who wins the show.
Sure.
And that is an unfortunate part of like the coverage of this show, but
Yeah.
the same thing just happened at E3.
Yeah.
I didn't go to E3. I'm not as much of a gamer as people that are
Right.
there and that are covering it. And everything that I saw in every report, I also kind of agreed where a lot of people were saying Nintendo won the show. Just because I'm kind of following some of the Nintendo announcements and I'm like, oh, see, that's how you do it. I'm like, that's awesome. And I'm also seeing how other things are being presented and how people are talking about it online and
Yeah.
covering it. And they're like, well, they showed us this, but then this. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's interesting. So I think it's possible to win, but I also think that it just kind of it's unfortunate that certain like companies or brands or whatever will have this kind of advantage. Because I was just thinking, man, I remember Comic-Con years where like I either saw or heard of Robert Downey Jr. walking around being escorted,
Exactly.
and that mass of people that as he's going from like Hall H to a car or something, and he's just like, "What's up, everybody?"
yeah.
And that energy that you feel, it's like it cackles with electricity in the room, and I'm like, it's unfair because whatever happens in Hall H on Saturday leading up to, whatever it is, will be fine. It will be cool. It will be very, very interesting, and they can put on a heck of a show. I mean, we had an amazing panel for Bumblebee. Remember that panel?
That was great,
But like,
Sony put a good panel.
but it
last
still
year.
felt like people weren't feeling it, and and we were over here like, you've got the like we were into it,
We were
and
cheering.
everyone else was like,
The
okay.
Halloween panel was great.
Yeah,
That
and
one
then
was
we saw
fantastic.
like the Fantastic Beasts panel, and
Yeah.
all the Harry Potter heads were freaking out, but we were like, we
Yeah,
were like,
exactly.
whatever. But it's an unfortunate like advantage, but Marvel could honestly just bring out Robert Downey Jr. And
that's
it's
it.
just
They could bring
like,
out a pile of shit
it's like,
and people would cheer.
No, but specifically, you bring out RDJ. It's
Yeah.
this thing of like standing ovation, love you 3000, brings the house down.
Oh,
you know,
100%.
Saying
and it's
goodbye.
like how
Yeah.
unfair that that companies can show up with creatives, with footage, with this awesome presentation that they've been going over it for the past couple weeks. They've narrowed it down. This is what we're going to show. This is what's going to happen, and it all goes off without a hitch. And people will still be like, okay,
Cool. Looks
and then
alright.
all Robert Downey Jr. has to do is come out and do that, and people are, oh my god, and it's like,
They're crying.
that's a bummer. But back to what you were saying, Adam. What were you talking about?
I forgot.
I don't think it's about being fair. I think it's knowing when to pick your time and place, though.
Yeah.
Like,
This is a good time. That's what Adam was saying. Was it
Right.
Marvel right now?
Right,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
really,
exactly.
what a good time.
It's
for them
a
to come
really
in.
good time and place. Like, I don't know if they knew about these people not coming. You know, because maybe
No.
they talk, maybe they don't.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
sure.
sure
I think
some
they would've-
executives have discussions, but
Yeah.
But they would have shown up either way.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they would have shown up either way as well. It's just I feel I don't know. It's a weird feeling because last year we were wondering why they didn't show up.
Yep.
We never really got a concrete answer.
Yep.
They just didn't show up.
I think it was mostly to just protect the secrecy of Endgame.
I get
Very
that.
possible.
That's what I would
get that.
imagine.
But they
But-
didn't even have to come close to touching it. They could
No.
just say, "Hey
but
guys."
I think the
Here's the
expectation
trailer.
from fans,
Sure.
if it wasn't
Is
going to be
announce-
discussing stuff past Endgame,
Yes,
everyone
yes, yes.
then why'd you show up?
yeah, I guess.
Right.
Which is the
And
unfortunate
so
I guess.
I
part of it.
remember having that conversation,
Yeah.
and I remember feeling like, as far as a brand having an excuse not to show up, that was
Yeah.
pretty good because they were
Yeah.
building up to this. Well, we can't show you stuff.
Right.
What are we gonna? We're gonna do another retrospective. We're gonna
Right.
spend a bunch of money and pay a bunch of very high-profile celebrities to come down here and be like, can't tell you anything about the
Yeah.
movie I'm in, or am I in it?
But here's
you
my
know?
cool costume.
You know, and it's like, and I get that, but
Yeah.
I do agree. I think that right now, with everything that's happened, and even them very smartly being like, well, Spider-Man's going to come out, and then Comic-Con happens.
Right.
So they can really show up and just blow,
whatever they
blow the door
want.
for it. But then they also announced maybe Salma Hayek. And it's like,
That would be awesome.
I don't care who she plays.
Awesome.
Yes, please.
I
Yes.
love Salma Hayek.
Me
she's,
too.
She's fantastic, and she's not in enough stuff.
No.
And that would be another great get.
We need that energy.
And unfortunately, they have not said, they don't know even like who she could be playing.
Sure, but sure, and I'm sure that it'll all be fine. And they also have not confirmed that Marvel Studios is going to show up. But I remember Kevin Feige was being interviewed, and he said something very coyly where he was like, "Well, if we did show up, we'd sure have a lot to talk about."
Yeah.
So it's like they're going to show
They're
up.
They're
coming.
going to show up, and
Look,
they do have a lot to
Come
talk
on.
about.
on.
There's, I can't imagine
Yeah.
that next week Marvel Studios puts out a tweet or a press release that says,
Right. Oh,
"Hey
we're not
guys, we're
coming."
skipping Comic-Con."
Right.
No.
And
What? It's
especially
victory lap time.
since none of us have seen Spider-Man yet.
Yeah.
There's answers apparently
Yeah.
there that are going to be talking about what's going to be happening next. So we don't have that information yet.
Apparently, the tradition of telling people to stay through the end credits is still happening. And all I can say to that is, where have you been for 22 movies?
Yeah.
10 years.
I know traditionally Marvel Studios comes to Comic-Con Saturday night, Hall H, usually 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if because of a lot of these studios not coming if they will shift and move into an earlier time slot.
I hope because usually Warner Brothers comes early.
Yeah, usually Warner
right?
Brothers is the first
Take
panel
that
on
spot.
Saturday morning at 10:15 to I think noon or 1. I would really think it'd be great if they ended up coming earlier in the day.
No.
Because it would mean that I would get to go to some of the DC TV panels or DC Universe.
I don't think that they will move, and I think that there will be conflicting time schedules, which will be
which is what I'm expecting.
DC TV stuff.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of bummed about. Like, look, I don't heavily follow the DC CW TV stuff.
Sure.
So like to miss that, I'm not. If there is any DC TV panel that I would like to be there for, it's Arrow because it's the final appearance of that entire cast. But the one that I really would like to go to is the DC Universe panel, which is not going to be Ballroom 20. It's an Indigo Ballroom at the Hilton Bayfront.
And that's Saturday night?
And that's at Saturday night. I think it starts at 7 and it goes till 9.
Cool.
And because I love Swamp Thing so much, and because I've really liked Doom Patrol and I like Titans, I would like to see more from Harley Quinn and Stargirl and whatever other stuff that they're planning. If it's going to be more of Young Justice Outsiders and maybe a few other things, like I would like to see all that stuff.
I
if
would
it conflicts with Marvel, I'm going to choose Marvel.
I would love for them to announce Young Justice Season 4 because that hasn't happened yet. And I would love and I haven't gotten any news or any word, and I've been asking my people.
Isn't it coming out in July?
Young Justice Season 3 Part 2 is coming out in July. Like the second half of this, because they've only released 13 episodes. So episodes 14 through whatever are going to be coming out. So that's the complete third season. But I would love that. I would love for if they've been holding on to announcements for ComicCon. Awesome. I would love for them to announce Doom Patrol Season 2. Yeah. That would be great. And I would love for them to come out with some news definitively, one way or the other, with like, what's up with Swamp Thing? Yeah. And for somebody officially from DC to go, this was the reason for the cancellation, and we are trying to find a way to keep it going. And what it might happen is maybe we're going to give you guys another show where there'll be an opportunity for the characters from Swamp Thing to make
up.
You know what I mean? Something.
Look, this is a complete rumor, so this could be totally untrue. But apparently James Wan might be developing a Swamp Thing movie, but with a different cast, which kind of bums me out. Well, because I really like the cast. Yeah. And I hope that the 10th episode, the finale, doesn't like kind of close it out. Like I hope it's open-ended enough that somebody else can come in, whether it's Warner Media or whoever, to pick it back up.
I don't think it's the same world, but Titans and Doom Patrol, their ends of their seasons left it open-ended. Sure. I know because Titans is getting a season 2, but even Doom Patrol, which hasn't been announced yet, left it to where those characters could show up. They didn't like kill everybody off or whatever.
Which I don't think Swamp Thing will do either.
No, but it's like, and I agree. I saw that news too, and people were going, well, this seems like it's a weird lesson for Warner Brothers, the movie studio, to take from the backlash where people are going, save Swamp Thing. Seems like a weird lesson for them to be like, oh, it seems like people like Swamp Thing. Maybe we'll do a movie. It's like, it's like everybody is like, no, just keep
it in the show.
Keep doing the show.
But that's the thing, though. They know they got a good audience with Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and all that stuff. Like, it's there, but maybe having the online service kind of change their mind a little bit. I don't know. Are they looking at a different about the viability of this show and where like it can port over, because that's what we were kind of hoping with like the Avengers stuff on Netflix. You know? We were kind of hoping for that. I just hope they don't take it that literally.
I tell you what, it would be dope if they took the actual cast of the show, everything from the show, and we're like, you know what, we're coming back. We're doing a 2-hour movie. James Wan's directing it.
On DC Universe. Or
on DC Universe. Theatrical. And it's like, I bet you that 2-hour movie would cost less than other movies. You know, other Warner Brothers projects, and it's like, do that, pay everybody to come back, do a 2-hour special or a movie to either close it out or set it up to maybe keep going, and that could be the first successful television to movie jump. That could be dope.
I mean, I think might not be a bad idea.
I think if you can do a 2-hour, like if the whole season cost $80 million, you could take that $80 million or even less, like Deadpool money,
$40 million, and make it 2 hours.
Even if you did 50 to 60, do a 2-hour film and invest into those 2 hours.
Awesome.
Put it out there theatrically,
and you could make that money back.
You would hope so, at least,
that
right?
Could be dope. Like that could be dope.
I don't know. I think it's. I think. And look,
movies are dying, you guys.
It's just a rumor. It's just a rumor.
That's
so
the reality.
It could literally not be true.
I know.
But I personally think that it would be better off for them to do that. Invest into a film.
A new cast.
Yeah, like some low-budget indie horror style film.
What if that's the future?
Directed by James Wan, or bring back Len Weissman. I thought he did a great job with the 2 episodes or 3 episodes that he directed so far. Let's talk about Ghostbusters, something that we don't really talk about that much. But a very interesting casting announcement was made today. Paul Rudd is going to be in the new Ghostbusters movie.
Cool.
They didn't reveal who he was going to be playing, but the rumor is he'll be playing a teacher. Apparently, Carrie Coon is also in talks to be in the movie, along with Finn Wolfhard. She may be playing a single mother. Finn Wolfhard might play her son. Not a lot of news as to how necessarily these characters or this story is going to tie into the original cast, but the original cast to some extent is expected to return, including Sigourney Weaver. Jason Reitman's directing. His dad, Ivan Reitman, obviously directed the original.
I saw Bill Murray in one of those pictures. Is he coming back at all?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't know if any of the. I'm not sure how much of the original cast has been confirmed yet, but I would expect a lot of them to return.
Cool.
I like the Ghostbusters franchise, I guess. It's not something that I grew up with, not something that's like so near and dear to me. I have a lot of friends who love the Ghostbusters. It's like very sacred to them. Emily loves the Ghostbusters. She has very like close connections to that. I like the casting of Paul Rudd. I like the casting of Carrie Coon. I like the casting of Finn Wolfhard. If Sigourney Weaver comes back or any of the original actors, it's great.
That's cool.
I don't necessarily know. I'm not going to be excited about this movie full throttle until I see a trailer.
Honestly,
it's kind of like where I'm coming from with it.
And for me, until I see the movie.
Sure.
Because I'm sure that they're going to come out with an awesome trailer. I just feel like, you know what, Sony? You have proven to yourself that you can do like a multiverse thing. I think it would be honestly pretty dope as if they were planning to, down the line, do a thing where these Ghostbuster kids or whatever new generation of Ghostbusters and that whole cast, like a sequel to the original, are able to meet the Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones.
Or talk about them like, oh, we're the predecessors of these women
something.
or whatever.
If it's a multiversal thing, because that's in a different universe, that's fine. But for some excuse for that cast to come, Kate McKinnon's character was so good in that movie. Like, that would be cool too. And for them not to sort of just put that to the curb, because that felt like too recent. You know what I mean? And it's not even like, oh, Edward Norton's going to not be the Hulk anymore. We've got another actor. It's like it was a whole cast of 4 super funny women that it's such a bummer that movie didn't
to the side.
Yeah, that movie didn't wasn't the best Ghostbuster movie, because it's like they deserve better is what I'm saying, and it would be cool if they got a chance to come back.
I mean, look, if Sony can humor the idea of a Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover.
That's what I'm saying.
then they can do a crossover of Ghostbusters.
And I feel like even like IDW, and I might be wrong. Zach, do you know if this has come out? I feel like it already has. IDW does Ghostbusters comics, right? I feel like they've done a Ghostbusters crossover between like the OG male Ghostbusters and the 2016 female Ghostbusters. I feel like they've already done that.
Didn't they do a Batman Ghostbusters crossover too, or like a Ninja Turtles?
They did Ninja Turtles Batman,
Ninja Turtles
DC,
Batman,
but
they
they've
did
done
Ghostbusters.
Turtles Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
because they also do Ninja Turtles.
Right, exactly. They've done a Turtles Ghostbusters crossover.
Yeah.
It's there, guys, and the world didn't fall apart. Like things are still intact. Let's talk about this kind of stuff.
I'm also curious, like how what do you do differently with this new Ghostbusters movie that isn't going to just feel like a rehash of the 80s Ghostbusters movies, but also not just going to feel like you're just setting aside 2016 Ghostbusters.
Right.
What are you doing that's going to be unique, but also feel like it's Ghostbusters? I don't know. I don't have a heavy investment in the franchise, so for me, I'm kind of just along for the ride, and I'm waiting to just see what the movie is. So
same.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I did watch Ghostbusters as a kid.
Yeah.
When as a kid, when I still would have found it scary, like when I legit would have been scared by that.
And when you didn't understand what a blowjob was.
Exactly. Like I didn't know there was a ghost blowjob going on in this movie till I was an adult.
She's haunting down there.
Oh, why is she
is he getting sick? What's happening?
His eyes crossed. She's hurting him.
So that's the thing. I feel like very much of what is being latched onto are the personalities of Bill Murray and everybody else in that cast.
SNL skit come to life, wasn't it? Kind of.
No, I think that was more Conehead
in terms of
style.
in terms of like the people that they got.
Yes.
Yeah, they were very
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray.
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. They were big names in SNL. Like they had a huge following at.
That's why I thought the new Ghostbusters were going to be so widely embraced, because it was kind of
the SNL
a similar sort of situation.
But
SNL
also
women,
we have to think about the time that it came out. It was in the 80s. This is when movie stars were still movie stars. Like when you could put a name and it would attract people. And you put Bill Murray on anything back in the 80s, he ruled the 80s as far as movies go.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd as well. Like, he was killing it at that point. And at this point, I feel like Paul Rudd is close to coming to that kind of level.
Yeah.
But it's not the same because we're not in the same moment in cinema as we were back in the 80s. So I feel like kind of trying to recapture that is going to be really, really tough.
Yeah.
Because that element is not there anymore. You know.
I feel like now it's less about what you're talking about. It's more about like who are kind of like heartthrobby actors that are kind of universally loved, not just by like certain people, but like Paul Rudd is definitely one of them. He's like
Hemsworth is one, and he was in the last one.
Hemsworth, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, right now.
You know, it's like it's that like who are those types of actors that you can sort of find that you can put into Ghostbusters.
And that's the thing though. There's not a lot of those people left. Like there's The Rock. I think John Cena is one of those people who's slowly climbing up there.
Weirdest cast.
It would be strange, right? Just because we are not looking at actors in that way anymore. So part of that old movie and part of the movie, I mean, even back in the day, like the movie Big, if you would have cast that with just like a normal actor or just like a smaller actor than Tom Hanks, wouldn't have been the same movie because it's fucking Tom Hanks, dude. It's America's dad. This guy's amazing. And so I feel like that kind of weight isn't being carried by today's actors. And Paul Rudd is close to being that because as soon as I saw him as Brian Fantana, I was a giant fan of Paul Rudd.
And if you're looking for that weight with like actresses, I feel like the equivalent would have been basically like the cast of Ocean's 8, where it's like Sandra Bullock and like and Kate Blanchett and these amazing women and Rihanna and all this stuff. But like,
I think if there's any proof of what you're saying, Hector, the Expendables movie that came out.
Oh my God!
Like, that movie had all the big names of back in the day. Did it go very far?
The
Not
first
really.
one did, but the second one, people were like, "Okay, we've seen it."
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like the audience, Hollywood, and movies in general, we're not looking at people like that anymore. Rocky Balboa is always going to be Rocky Balboa, and Rambo's always going to be Rambo. We're going to have that. But nowadays, we're so far past that it's tough to capture a movie like Ghostbusters. Exactly. Like it's tough to capture that, and nostalgia's running deep right now, and that's what they're trying to tap into. But at the same point, you gotta be really, really in touch with their audience, and I feel like this is not that in touch at this point.
I mean, being on Twitter and seeing someone tweet out the listing of movies on the outside of a theater, and it's like Toy Story, Child's Play,
Men in Black,
Aladdin.
1984? Yeah, it's like, what year are we in?
The 90s right now.
Even the slate for Paramount, you know, a lot of the stuff that they're doing, it's remakes and reboots of stuff they've already done years ago. Like Top Gun is one of them. A 30-something-year-old movie.
I personally, I don't feel hot about this right now, but it's Paul Rudd. I'll support him in anything that he does at this point.
And the rest of that cast looks great.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's really cool. Maybe this could be the one that would make me love Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because I'm also like, I like it. It's fine.
I don't dislike it.
But
I'm just not in love with it.
I don't like own any of the movies. Or
No. Like, I'm not dying to watch any of those movies at any point right now. Not like Back to the Future, like where that's got to be. That's like a yearly watcher. Like Back to the Future, The Sandlot.
Yep.
I just watched The Sandlot the other day.
The Sandlot is
the perfect summer movie.
It's a perfect summer movie.
The perfect 4th of July movie. Dude. Just like you only watch that.
Should we watch that instead of Fast Five? No.
That'll be playing while we're all hanging out, like
and then
chilling,
movie time.
And then movie time.
Okay,
perfect.
Avengers Endgame, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Hector. 3D international only. I know.
Hey,
I feel your pain too, brother.
Listen, Captain Marvel just came out. I gotta wait until August to get Captain Marvel 3D, which is coming out in the UK.
Yeah.
And my UK brothers and sisters are gonna help me. They're the first ones to tell me. They're like, it's in August.
Yeah.
It's coming out in August. I was like, great, I'll get it then.
Yeah.
I can wait. As long as
you get it.
Has 3D been announced? Or no, you're just assuming it'll be international.
I've seen it on forums, and I've seen the packaging and all that sort of stuff, so it'll be there.
I'm fine.
So Avengers is coming out, obviously, on Blu-ray. It's coming out digitally July 30th. I don't have any interest in that. 4K Blu-ray August 13th, 3D international. But the special features to me are interesting. So the big sort of like loss for me is there is no
commentary.
I was hoping that there was going to be like a nice extensive documentary about the making of Infinity War and Endgame. A nice, really like big old juicy 60 to 90 minute documentary that would also sort of touch on the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. So some of the things that we're getting, there's a Stan Lee tribute, which I thought was going to play during this new theatrical run. Apparently it's not.
Oh, I thought
it's
it was
going to be an intro by the Russo brothers. It'll
Okay.
be an unfinished deleted scene and a sneak peek at Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
So I guess
but then the Russo brothers said, and maybe some surprises in
so
addition to that.
it could show up.
Yeah,
It could show up. So it's possible. some of this character stuff that they have, I kind of feel like it's stuff that we've already seen on all of these individuals' previous like Blu-rays.
And I feel like this kind of stuff is the stuff that's like it's a 5-minute thing.
And it's stuff that like you can find on YouTube.
It's going to take me about 35 minutes to get through all the special features.
Like this special feature, setting the tone, casting Robert Downey Jr. Here's the tale of how Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Tony Stark in the original Iron Man and launching the MCU. I feel like that was a special feature in 2008 on the Blu-ray, and I feel like it's been talked about so much.
I really
we
hope
all
that
know the story.
I really hope that each one of these are really specific to Endgame.
Yeah,
they're really like it would be awesome if that and the A Man Out of Time creating Captain America trace the evolution of Captain America with those who helped shape the look, feel, and character of this compelling hero. Are like 15 minutes a pop, and they're just like a thank you Robert Downey Jr., thank you Chris Evans, like that would be awesome, and they have everything from the beginning to the end game.
Right.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Honestly,
be great.
they will be 6 minutes apiece.
They
will be 4 minutes apiece.
That's
like,
what I'm very frustrated with as well. Is that like even with the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were good bonus feature stuff, but I wish they were beefier. I wish there was a little bit more to sink yourself
You know
into.
what had some good ones? Because I was just reminded of this because one of the animators on Twitter retweeted it, and he was like, throwback Thursday to when I was on the special features for Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Now, there's about 30-some minutes of Incredibles 2 stuff on there, but there's also this amazing commentary where Brad Bird opens it and he goes, hey, guys, I'm going to hand this off to like the heads of my departments, the animation. And
they
I
don't
was
normally
like,
get their voices
and
heard.
I was like, this is great.
Amazing.
And the whole 2-hour movie they're talking over, and I'm like, this is awesome.
great.
Thank you,
That's
Brad
what you
Bird,
wanna
for
hear.
taking a step back and letting somebody, because he's just the only commentary for Incredibles 1.
Yeah.
Great. But then, so like that one had some good commentary and some good stuff.
The closest featurette that seems like could possibly tap into that a little bit is called The Russo Brothers' Journey to Endgame. See how Anthony and Joe Russo met the challenge of helming 2 of the biggest films in cinematic history back to back.
Yeah.
But I think some of the times have been listed, and I don't think these are very long. I think
Yeah,
they're all going
that's
to be
what
like
I'm
5 to 10 minute
That
things. I'm like,
sucks,
where's
dude.
the 90-minute documentary about how they made these movies?
Right, exactly.
Where's like
No.
the Lord of the Rings style, stuff?
Here's what I
that's
like.
want.
It's because this stuff doesn't make any money for them
I know,
anymore.
that's the
Nobody
problem.
cares. Here's what I
I
like.
care.
The other 2 we didn't mention I think are really good.
Sure.
Black Widow, Whatever It Takes. Again, it would be awesome if there was a full like
2 minutes.
Sark.
She's gonna get 2 minutes,
I know,
and then
dude.
and then they're gonna force you to take your DVD out and throw it out the window. That's what's gonna happen.
Put it in the cloud.
Put it in the
Yeah.
cloud. Damn it.
The women of the MCU women share what it was like to join forces for the first time in an epic battle scene and be a part of such a historic ensemble. That I want to see, because that's the moment where Tessa Thompson and everybody cornered Kevin Feige, and they're like, this should be a movie. Like, I want them to talk about that. I want that to, I feel like if they were to tie that into like, clips and images from like Marvel history where it's like, here's the Lady Liberators or the A-Force to kind of tease like, we could make this movie. That would be great. Even if it's 6 minutes, man. Like,
But
come on.
I
want
feel like
depth.
I feel like it doesn't do it justice
Yeah.
though, because there's such a deep history to get into. First of all, with the comics, and now 10 years of cinematic history.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about, but
Oh, we got a commentary?
No, there's a commentary.
Yeah,
well, that's cool.
So there's an audio commentary, which is great, which is
right.
going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
But part of me makes me think that something like we're looking for, Adam, is going to be in the Mega Infinity
Box
Saga box set.
I hope so.
Which
dude.
I hope they do. And there was an interview with Victoria Alonso, I think like a month ago, and I think it was with Collider.
Yeah.
And he was it Collider Frosty was asking her about redoing the movies in 4K, and she said we're working on it. And then he asked her about a box set, and she was like, I don't know if we're doing one. I imagine we're going to, though. And I'm like, please do one.
You're like, this hasn't even crossed your mind?
It's like, you guys did one for
How?
phase 1 and 2. Why would you not do
How?
one for phase 3, first of all? Second of all, why would you not do one that is 4K and 3D or regular Blu-ray in 3D? Like,
I don't.
it's
I don't
the
know.
inconsistency that kills me.
know.
But all that aside,
Physical media is dying.
it sounds like it's going to be a cool Blu-ray with cool stuff on it. I'm looking forward to the commentary because I think that will probably end up being the most insightful piece to the movie that we'll get because it'll be 3 hours of them just talking about it. But
I'll let you guys know what I think when I see it in September.
But I do hope that at some point we get some sort of look into how they made this whole universe.
At this point, they could take 10 years of behind-the-scenes documentary style
so
stuff
much shit, I'm
and
sure.
cut a 2-hour documentary
Yeah.
and put it on Netflix and put it on Blu-ray, and I would buy that shit.
Maybe they'll put it on Disney Plus.
That would be
Yeah,
dope.
who knows?
That would be so tight.
I think part of what is also causing this is so I saw a really great thing by the Russo brothers, and it's breaking down Iron Man, Captain America, and I think a few other characters, and it's a 30-minute long thing, and they talk about each one of these characters' story arcs, right?
Cool.
And it's the Russo brothers talking about it, and like, this is the juicy shit that I want to see.
Yeah.
They talk about Captain America and that elevator scene and why it's so important and how it changes him. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe they are doing this on other outlets, so they don't even have to worry about it on the DVD, which fucking sucks, though, dude, because if I'm out here buying this and putting my money towards this, that's where I want to see it.
Yep.
I know.
It's dumb. Whatever. I mean, I'm looking forward
And
to...
you're part of the problem, Augustine.
Listen, guys.
You were the one that said, I'm going to the cloud, baby. This is your fault.
I'm not going to the cloud at all.
said.
I am going to streaming services.
That's why.
That's the cloud.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I just canceled my Netflix subscription because I feel like I'm not getting what I'm paying into it. Like, it's expensive now. Yeah. And
Stranger Things Season 3 is about to come out.
I'll pay $16 to have it for a month and then not have it again.
Just use a new email and get a free trial.
Yeah, or get a free trial or borrow it from somebody. Because every time I would log on to Netflix, I'm like, I don't want to watch any of this. And everything that I've watched, I feel like I've watched 1,000 times already. Yeah. So I'm just like, you know what? I think that is pushing me back towards physical media because it was so nice. So we were just at Florida Universal Studios, right? And we were doing all this stuff, and Cynthia and I were talking to one of her cohort mates about Avatar because she has little girls, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to introduce them to like cool animation stuff." And
Avatar:
I was
The
like,
Last Airbender.
"Avatar: The Last Airbender," and Cynthia and I started talking about it. And on the plane ride home, she's like, "I just want to sit in the living room, throw on Avatar, and just relax and watch this show." And I'm like, "We got it, baby! I got it on 4K Blu-ray." And so that's what we did. Like, and I forgot how nice it was to have that option. No commercials. You don't have to do anything else. Like, don't have to worry if your internet connection's up. You just throw it on and relax. You know. So yeah, I forgot about the simplicity and the niceness.
And they
of
say
that.
that Hector's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Yeah. So that's
for
kind of
some stuff you definitely.
That's kind of pushing me towards collecting the things that I really, really love.
Cool, man.
I think what bogs me down is when there's 7 different versions of the special features that I have to go to 12 different stores to get. So
or you got to ship it from 6,000 miles away because they don't sell it here.
Right. So that's where it gets kind of tedious, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is there's no perfect way, really.
Right.
You're right.
To have
what I've gone into the habit of doing is if it's a 4K restoration, I buy it in 4K. If it's a 3D movie that I love, that I think the 3D is really good, I buy it. If it's a movie that like I enjoy, but I'm not like a diehard fan of, and if it's $5 on Amazon, I'll get the Blu-ray. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll find it and I'll stream it.
Right.
And if I really am like, oh, I actually really love this movie, then I'll find it. But like, I'm really mostly investing into physical media into things that like I'm passionate about.
Right, exactly.
You know?
And I feel like that's what I kind of forgot.
The Avatar example was perfect because it's like
if you love
I do have a lot of stuff so that I can like lend it out to people.
Yeah.
Like I brought you the Fast and Furious movies tonight. They're not streaming anywhere. I don't think you could rent them.
They're not streaming anywhere. Yeah.
But it's like I got you. You know, I hold on to stuff so that I could let people borrow it.
Yeah.
You know,
even the Marvel movies, like Iron Man 2 is streaming on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But like I have no clue how many other Marvel movies are streaming there versus Netflix.
Right.
Versus
know,
some
they're
other
on
thing.
TV all the time because I have PlayStation View.
Yeah,
and so
they're on
they're
FX a lot.
Yeah, and so they're all on
TNT.
FX, but they're all kind of out of order.
Yeah,
right.
And like I jump in halfway through, so I'm not really watching, and there's stuff happening. It's just that kind of ritual of like throwing on the disc, hanging out. You know what's about to happen.
You're like mentally prepared.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
when Zach and I watch a movie in here, we go and we get the disc, and it's like cool.
Yeah.
Lights are coming down, sound system's going up. We're doing a movie.
Yep,
Like we're
yep,
invested in the
You're
movie.
not going to get that little circle.
No.
Yeah,
halfway
exactly.
through a scene, and you're like, I gotta wait for the internet to, you know. Anyway, whatever. Our fans know this stuff. Our viewers know this stuff.
Look,
That's how
we preach
feel.
this every week.
Yeah.
We do.
It's the last thing we're going to talk about. It's a little bit of an interesting topic, but I thought it would be fun thing to sort of like look at and talk about and see, you know, with the stuff that we do, how can we sort of like influence this trend and like how can we encourage people to do this? So AMC Theaters is trying to boost sort of indie filmmaking.
Cool.
And the way they're going to do that, they're going to create a new label called AMC Artisan Films, which is to boost certain movies that might have trouble getting traction as moviegoers increasingly choose well-known brands, whether it's Marvel, DC, Star Wars, anything that's a big franchise or has like a big budget and a big marketing push.
Yeah.
You know, there's been movies that have come out recently, like Booksmart is a perfect example, and even the movie with Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen, the action, or the
Long Shot.
Long Shot.
Yeah.
Both movies were very well received by the critics. But made peanuts at the box office because
Right,
people
right,
are
right.
not necessarily like, either it's not playing in their area or they're not really investing or they don't know that those movies are playing.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of reading ahead here.
Sure.
Is part of this AMC Artisan Films seal of approval, is part of that going to mean maybe a lower ticket price to go see it?
That I
Or
don't know.
will they be the same?
know.
Because I feel like this has been part of the conversation is
Yeah.
if movie theaters really did want to do something like this, part of it could be, look,
Make it
you're
more
gonna pay
affordable.
$15 to go see Avengers Endgame again this weekend. But Booksmart is $8.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Even at night, prime time, $8.
Yeah.
So you and a date could see it for $16.
And have a good time.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do this. And it's
Yeah.
like, will that help the movie?
Absolutely.
Will that, like...
That'll absolutely help a movie.
I think there's potential for that, but I do think that AMC currently where it stands, if they're gonna do something like that, they're gonna try to push people over to AMC A-list.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
Because
Yeah.
I know
All right.
that the price varies based on where you live.
Yeah.
And I do understand that like that may also be difficult because
Yeah.
not everyone necessarily has an AMC within a stone's throw away from them.
So
they might
that's-
have to go an hour plus to go to an AMC theater.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I think what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense where it's
I
like, cool,
agree.
AMC Artisan Films, you come watch it at our theater, it's going to be $8, whether it's morning, evening, you know,
Right.
late night, whatever it is.
You know what, though? You know what AMC used to do, and I don't know if they do it anymore. Maybe
Yeah.
they still do it, but I think they've been trying to move people away from this, again, to do the AMC A-list, is $5 Tuesday.
I think it's $7 now, but
It's
they do
$7
it,
Tuesday.
The AMC in downtown still does that.
Yeah.
So $5
Yeah.
or $7 Tuesday, I think is great. I think
Yeah.
that they can. What they should do is just like museums down in San Diego will have a free day every first Monday of the
Right, right,
month.
right.
Have like a first Monday of the month where like
Half off.
like indie movies like this, anything that's AMC Artisan Film,
Yeah.
half off. You show up on a Monday
agree.
to draw some flies to that honey,
Right,
some,
right, right.
to bees to that honey.
That's
I
right.
think Adam's idea of maybe moving that towards a prime time, like you could watch Avengers 6,
Yep.
or watch this John Watt movie that he just made,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah.
for
Clown Car?
half the price. Yeah, go
Yeah.
watch Cop Car.
Clown
Go watch
Car.
Clown Car. Yeah.
The sequel.
So but like that's the kind of thing, and I feel like the way movies are swinging right now, it's the big giant comic book superhero blockbuster, and there will be a time where it's going to swing in the other direction. So maybe this is kind of like a good way to ease people into like, hey guys, there's other great movies coming out right
That's
now
great.
that maybe
Yeah.
you should look into, which is amazing. Like,
So-
what if Gendy came out with something and I was just
Yeah.
like, fuck, man, nobody's paying
I mean,
attention to
Genny,
this.
or you even look at Barry Jenkins, the
Yeah.
director of
Yep.
Moonlight.
Yep.
He did
Right,
if Beale Street Could Talk.
Yep.
And as much as like critically and commercially acclaimed Moonlight was, it didn't necessarily help Beale Street.
Right,
People
right, right.
saw it, but most people that saw it were real deep cinephiles.
Right, exactly.
Or it was readily available and they saw
Right,
it, but
right,
it
right.
still didn't like make huge. I don't think it was a box office failure. I think it like made money.
Yeah.
But I think if you did something like this, where you like lower the ticket price,
Yeah.
or you do something to entice people to come, then yeah, if instead of paying, I don't know, $20 to go to AMC, City Walk to watch that movie,
Right.
hey, it's going to be available for $10.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I think
completely
more
agree.
people would be enticed to go.
I completely agree, and it's kind of like the street food cinema model. Like
Yeah.
we will pay $12 to go and watch The Sandlot or Jurassic
Yeah,
Park or
yeah.
something. Like the audience is there. I think LA is a good place as kind of like a proving ground, just because it already kind of happens here.
Right.
There's so many different theaters showing so many different things all
Yeah.
at once, that if they kind of move that to the mainstream, like the Midwest or the East Coast, wherever, because LA is kind of like its own separate
LA, New
thing.
York, yeah. and
Yeah, it's
Chicago,
kind of like its own
yeah.
separate thing. So if they move that to other smaller cities and gave you the option to see these smaller movies in this bigger Edward Cinema or AMC or Regal theaters, whatever you have, then that would be a good way to open up the rest of the people who are not in LA, New York, or
Yeah.
like
Agreed.
wherever
Agreed.
to these great movies.
Yeah.
That are
Agreed, yeah.
that don't go to like Cannes, or they don't go to the
Right.
film festivals
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
some
know?
of the movies that are on this list, like Midsommar, the new Ari Aster movie, the director of Hereditary.
Midsummer?
Midsommar, but Midsummer,
It's
sure.
pronounced Midsommar,
Yeah,
really?
because it's Swedish.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've been calling it Midsummer.
Damn,
I mean-
Hector.
I've been calling her Mrs. Crabapple. It's Crabapple?
Krabappel?
Oh, man.
But you know,
a
like,
real dum-dum.
we've had these, like Zach and I've had these conversations too, and it's like, yeah, because of the ease of accessibility on television,
Exactly.
because of streaming services,
Right.
people are not as motivated to go to the movie theater.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And a lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with the pricing.
Yes.
You know, whether it's the ticket or the concessions.
The convenience.
I mean,
Yep.
when we go, we just went. We saw it was Aladdin or something or Toy Story.
Right.
Because it was my birthday, I paid zero money for snacks, and I
Yeah.
paid zero money for a ticket because I
Right.
have A-list.
Right.
Obviously, like that's not something that is going to happen every single week. That's
Right,
not something
right,
that's
right.
going to happen to everybody who like does not have A-list.
Yeah.
But how do you incentivize people to go?
Right, right.
I think doing something like AMC Artisan Films, but also pushing of like, hey, we want to encourage people to come, so we're going to lower prices.
Right.
And just try it. If it doesn't work, it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
I
You
think-
got to figure something else
I think
out.
they're afraid to lower prices just because the trend of not going to theaters is already happening. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we got to squeeze everybody. But
Yeah.
maybe if you lower the price, more people will come out and you'll make the money that way.
And movie theaters, and maybe this has changed since I worked at the theater, but as far as I know, movie theaters don't make their money off of tickets. They make
Right.
their money off of the concession.
concessions,
Yeah.
They keep the revenue off of that. The percentage on tickets is low.
Yeah.
And I think for these indie movies, it may be even lower. I don't know.
Listen,
but
y'all, I'm not going to confirm or deny whether I take family-sized bags of M&Ms to the movie theaters. I'm just saying that shit's expensive. That's
You want to get your fresh popcorn there? Fine,
yeah,
I get
fine,
it. I'll buy
whatever.
your popcorn.
But a mini bag like this of M&Ms for
$4,
$6,
yeah.
I'm like, are you
You
kidding
want
me?
me to buy your beer there? Because now you put a bar inside the movie
Yeah.
theater?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'll get a cold beer at the theater.
Yeah.
I will get that. Like Alamo. They just opened. They're going to open the Alamo next month, which we need to go to, by the way. We all need to.
Yeah,
we
I really
probably
wanna
should
go.
do a Patreon
I'm
video about
sneaking
that.
in my M&Ms and I'm sneaking in my chili mangoes.
No, the Patreon. So the Alamo gives you dinner there. You have
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
a little
yeah.
table there, like you
Cool.
can eat your dinner while you have. But other movie theaters
As
well.
long
I'm
as you
just like,
bring me my M&Ms in a martini glass, that's the only way I'll accept them.
sold.
separated.
That's the only way I
greens,
accept them.
blues, reds.
Just like
Oh,
yes,
God.
exactly. Just like the iPick Theater, where it's
my
like
God.
2 trays, and it's like I'd like a red one,
I'd
please.
like a red one.
I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this Midsommar film. Quite very
My
much.
peanut M&M, my peanut butter M&M, my
And now,
crunchy M&M.
now a hazelnut M&M. This is new. Good.
Oh my God.
Delicious.
Please.
What responsibility do you think people in our space have who make content for the internet? Like,
Number one responsibility, if we're movie people, I feel like,
Yeah.
is to talk about the news where the environment of filmmaking and television making is shifting, where merges are happening, where people are losing their jobs. That's the number
Right.
one responsibility, is to
Right.
try to shed some light on the business workings and how it's affecting people in this city and this
Yeah. Right.
economy,
Right.
Yeah.
that stuff. Number two responsibility, don't be a piece of shit. We talk about inclusivity. We talk about, the importance of different voices and try to explain that. Number third responsibility
Number
is...
third.
Number third, the third is
running low on energy.
third responsibility depleted fuel is to it's not necessarily my job to cover movies, like, period. Like, I'm not a movie journalist.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if I do go see one of these films that I feel like is not getting enough love, absolutely you have the responsibility,
Right.
number three,
Yeah.
to go out and tweet about it and
Right.
and talk about it. And
Right.
I do that stuff to cartoon shows,
Right.
even older, whatever that I'm experiencing that I feel like is, hey, everybody, check this out. I try to do it, and every
Right.
once in a while, some other response will be like, oh, yeah, I remember that cartoon show. I haven't seen
Yeah.
that cartoon show in a while. That was great. I'm going to go back and watch it
Yeah.
too. And it's like, cool. That's cool. Like, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
to prop up art if
Yeah.
it's art that I enjoy. But I feel like those other two responsibilities should come first.
Yeah, no, I agree. In one of those responsibilities, did you talk about how movies don't exist in a bubble and they're not created in a bubble?
I feel like it's a number two.
That could kind of fall in number two.
Because it's talking about different voices.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
And
yeah.
how all art is inherently political.
Yes,
that's what
yes,
it. That's part of it.
So that's kind of the thing. It's just
Yeah.
like, it really irks me when people are like, "Oh, I wish they'd take these politics out of these movies." I'm like, "Mother,
Oh,
are you kidding me?"
I mean, Zach and I talked about in the review when
Yeah,
someone said about
that's
X-Men.
what I
and
remember,
went,
yeah.
My eyes just rolled in the back of my head, and I went, "What?"
Right, exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly. I feel like it's our responsibility to paint a picture of our experience with
Yeah.
the movie and
Yeah.
not tell you to not go watch something. Because I feel like when we first started, we did kind of do that.
Yeah.
Like, we rated things and we were just like, you can skip this one or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's also doing people a disservice
Yeah.
because I
it
feel
closes
like
the conversation.
Exactly. It doesn't leave it open, and it doesn't service anything for the art either,
Yeah.
because there's people who get different things. And like you say a lot, Hector, you're not in my heart. Like, you don't have my heart. You don't have my experience. So you could be depriving somebody of them feeling something. So I feel like it's our job to describe our experiences in the best way possible, and hopefully some of you connect with that, and then it would encourage you to either see something or have an open mind about something or talk about something with somebody who you wouldn't normally talk about with, you know? So
Beautifully said.
that's
Beautifully
what
said.
I feel.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to
Start a
end
conversation.
the show.
Yeah, let's do it because we got stuff to do.
But guys, let us know in the comments below what you thought about everything that we covered. How do you feel about this Artisan Films brand of AMC? Would that encourage you to go see movies? Would a price drop on certain movies encourage you to go see more movies? What are your thoughts on ComicCon? Are you going? Are you looking forward to going? What are you hoping to see there? What do you wish was going to
Will
Comic-Con?
we see you there?
Will we see you there? I wonder.
Yeah.
Are you going to try to? Are you trying to pick up
what
on
are you
something?
trying to-
He's just
No.
scrolling
He's just
aimlessly.
scrolling. He just wants to
He's
cover
run
it.
out of energy drinks.
need-
He just needs more.
I need another one of these.
Jesus.
Hang on. Let me close this up.
Hector's
so
got
that I
adult stuff to go do, so we're going to get out of here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe. Check out this crazy trailer reaction we did for Hobbs and Shaw. Let us know what you thought about all that. And I think sometime next week we'll post our individual videos. But in the meantime, make sure you check out Patreon. We've got a lot of stuff coming up on Patreon. We're going to be doing commentary on the first Men in Black. I think I'm going to watch it and I'm going to listen to it with audio commentary. And see what I learned
Should get all that juicy info for the
for
patrons
next week. Yeah, that's right.
And I'll
that's
go
right.
and watch the 106 episodes of the animated series Men in Black. Just kidding. I won't do
And
that.
I'm going to go watch the first 4 Fast and Furious movies.
Thirst and Furious.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.